The Panama Canal was an idea of the Spanish, but they actually didn't begin the project. Later on, the French wanted to construct a safe international waterway, open to shipping. Then the US took the responsibility of building up the Panama Canal by buying the rights to the French. The Panamanians wanted to become independent, and after the US helped them, they wanted them to give them something in return. That is why there were 7 articles created in which Panama and the US agreed on.
Cheers!
Cheers.
13,000 miles is a huge distance for a ship even now. Before the Panama Canal, ships had to navigate that distance 99 years ago.
So that means that it was first used in 1914. I heard that the project was from the French in the 19th century, right?
That's right, they chose Panama to accomplish their idea of put together the two oceans. They began this idea in 1880, but after 9 years of war, they lost 22,000 people and $250 million, so they gave up.
But those are the French, and we're talking about the US interventions in Latin America.
Yes, now it's time to talk about the US. In 1904, they took the labor, but they had other idea. Therefore, they created the largest man-made lake, which was 23 miles square.
Didn't they have the problems that the French had?
Well, they had other kind of problems. They had technical problems. The largest man-made lake was going to become the canal was 85 feet above sea level. That is like 25.9 meters above sea level. Article 7 stated that the U.S. had all rights to buy whatever was necessary to improve construction. The purchase could be from a piece of land to a whole building. This meant that the U.S. would invest on anything that could be needed for the success of the construction.
How did they solve that problem?
They found a solution that is still working: locks.
Locks? That's a kind of cheap elevator, right?
Yes, but even though the Chinese invented this mechanism, it was never applied to something so big.
But how does the US have the control over the canal, and how did they obtain that power?
That's a good question. Actually, Panama was part of Colombia, but after Colombia refused to give up the authority to the US to construct and manage the canal, some Panamanians, with help of the US Marine, declared Panamanian independence. After independence, other countries have to recognize you as a country, and Roosevelt immediately accepted Panama as a country. Panama and the U.S. signed a treaty in which Panama gave the U.S. perpetual control over the 16 kilometers strip.
So the US got what they wanted.
Yes, with a new responsibility. They had to maintain and police the canal, and they had to use it in a peaceful way. But first, they had to buy the rights and properties from the French. The US paid $40 million after negotiating with the Panama and deciding where to build the canal, either in Panama or in Nicaragua.
So, this is how the US intervened in Panama?
Yes, also because after its independence from Colombia, the US designed the Panamanian flag, wrote their constitution, and their Declaration of Independence. Finally, the US obtained the 16-kilometer strip and 2 nautical miles from each end of the canal. After all, the construction was a success, and the Panamanians wanted their territory back.
Did they have new sessions or did they go to war?
They started to negotiate in 1974 with several protests from the Panamanians. There even was a strike of students that killed over 20 Panamanians.
We're here to participate in the signing of a treaty that will assure the peaceful and prosperous and secure future for an international waterway, a great importance to us all. But the treaties do more than that. They mark the commitment of the United States to believe that the fairness and not fortune should lie at the heart of our dealing to the nations. If any agreement between two nations is to last, it must serve the best interest of both nations. The new treaties do that, and by guaranteeing the neutrality of the Panama Canal. The treaties also serve the best interest of every nation that uses the canal. The agreement does fold a new partnership to ensure that this vital waterway, so important to all of us, will continue to be well operated, safe, and open to shipping by all the nations now and in the future.
In 1999, the US finally gave the canal to Panama and the power to administrate it.